A local cancer survivor's final chapter of his journey that started almost 20 years ago is far from over. You may remember Idahoan Trevor Schaefer. We've covered him a lot here at KTVB. He's the inspiration behind a law passed in 2016, which helps find cancer clusters in communities caused by environmental issues.
The law is supposed to mandate federal assistance to communities who have had contamination because of those environmental issues, and it was intended to create an avenue for the government to help in evaluating potential cancer clusters. But as we have come to learn, not much help or even assistance is being given in that regard. Katya Stepovic sat down with Trevor, who's getting ready to speak at President Biden's Cancer Roundtable this week about this issue specifically. Katya?
Well, that's right, guys. Trevor says his organization has been working with the CDC for over 4 years now. He says the CDC has been updating their cancer cluster guidelines to be in accordance with Trevor's law, and still nothing has been done yet. And that is something that he hopes President Biden will check off his list this week.
Cancer has affected my vision and my hearing pretty significantly. It affected my hormones pretty significantly as well, and my memory. I'll probably never be able to have children.
In November of 2003, Trevor Schaefer was diagnosed with cancer. He was just 13 years old.
Look what I have to deal with for the rest of my life, and I'm considered one of the lucky ones.
In 2003, Trevor's mom came to learn that 4 other children were diagnosed with the same cancer in the same area, eventually leading them to the conclusion that his cancer was caused by contaminated water in McCall.
She found out that there was a mine about 40 miles north of McCall. And they mine using a lot of toxic methods. We had a lot of really big forest fires in McCall in 1994. It burned thousands of acres, and it burned through that mining site and burned those mine tailings and sent them up into the air, into the wind currents and that carried them into the lake where we all got our drinking water from and where we played.
From that day forward, he dedicated his life to doing something that would save others. He called it Trevor's Law.
It addresses cancer clusters or hot spots of cancer throughout the United States. It authorizes federal agencies like the CDC, ATSDR, to work with local and state governments and the community to address cancer cluster concerns.
Former President Barack Obama passed Trevor's Law in 2016, and former President Donald Trump gave $1 million in funding for the initiative in 2018. But Trevor says there's still one thing missing: guidelines from the CDC.
They started that effort in 2018, and so we're here 4 years later, and the new guidelines still are not complete. And that's important because those guidelines are a roadmap for state and local agencies to follow when they get a cancer cluster concern from a community.
But it's not the end of the road for Trevor and Trevor's Law. In fact, he recently received an invitation to be one of 6 panelists at President Biden's Cancer Roundtable on Wednesday, as part of the president's plan to speed up the fight against cancer.
We want President Biden to know about this. And when he was campaigning in 2019 here in Boise, I did speak with him briefly about the law. So he is aware of it. He did recognize it at that time, and we just want him to incorporate this into his moonshot because it's a natural fit, and it really is a great roadmap for them to follow to accomplish his goals.
And since this bill passed, 900,000 children have been diagnosed with cancer in our country. Schaefer says having CDC guidelines for Trevor's Law could bring that number down. So we'll just have to see what happens Wednesday, guys.
Unfortunately, outside of a pandemic, it seems the gears of government kind of, turn a little bit slower than most people want. Thank you very much, Katya.